welcome to Keeping It Real Estate with Kristen. I'm Kristen Goyette. I'm a mortgage loan officer with Motto Mortgage Complete, and this podcast is about all things real estate. And today I have my friend with me, Cole Dingus, with Remax Complete out of Goldsboro, North Carolina. So welcome, friend.
Hello, hello.
Thank you so much for coming.
Yes.
I'm super excited to have you on.
I am too. Excited to be here.
Thank
a little nervous, but excited to be here.
Don't be nervous. It's just me, you, and the audience.
That's right. That's right.
So tell us all a little bit about yourself and your journey into real estate.
Okay. Where do you want me to start? Like childhood, or do you want me to start?
Go back as far as you want to.
Whatever. Well, I grew up a military kid, military brat. So I'm a weird like a mesh of local person and military brat because my mom is from Eureka, North Carolina.
Okay.
And like my whole family is like Pikeville, Eureka, Northern Wayne County.
Yeah.
But then my dad was located first base in Goldsboro, and they met and so got married, and we lived in Germany, that's where I was born at.
Oh, cool.
Moved all over New Mexico, Georgia, and then whenever my dad retired in Georgia from the Air Force, we moved back to North Carolina, and I went to ACOC there, or CB ACOC, and anyways, met my girlfriend there. We dated for 7 years.
Kind of a ring on it.
A long time. Feels like no. You're fine. I hear from everybody.
I know. I'm sure.
Anyways, my mama and her mama and grandmama. But anyways, and then so after high school, I went to Wayne Community, where I took my first real estate class, actually.
Oh, cool.
It was not cool at all.
Uh-oh.
Our whole class failed. I'm not going to name names who the teacher was, but she can kick rocks and keep it real, you know.
All right.
Anyways, so then finished my degree there, and then went ECU for a little while, off and on, still to this day. But I got my real estate license.
Lifelong student.
Yes.
That's okay. I'm a lifelong learner.
I'm a graduate before I'm 40, or whatever. But
right. I graduated in 2019 with a degree, so you're never too old to learn, Cole.
Me and my baby sister joke all the time that we're going to graduate at the same time from college. But anyways, but when I got my real estate license, went to J.Y. Monk Real Estate School in Greenville.
Okay.
And passed the first time there, and then got my real estate license. And anyways, so I've been in the industry since about 2019.
Okay.
How I found Remax Complete was... I was working at the Oyster Bar, Vail House Oyster Bar and Grill in Goldsboro. And anyways, I was shucking oysters one evening, and Catherine Eagles and Julie Lozano. Catherine is the broker in charge at Remax.
Yep.
And then Julie is number 2.
Yes.
Or assistant broker in charge, whatever you want to call her. She's something, love her. But they came in, and I did not know Julie at all. And I kind of knew Catherine, my girlfriend Hallie, and her daughter Eliza were best friends throughout middle school and high school, and she dated our quarterback on the football team in high school. And anyways, that's kind of knew Catherine, but not really. And so she was like, "What are you up to these days?" And I told her, I was like, "Well, I just got a real estate license," and I never thought that they would hire me because they were number 1 in Goldsboro, and I was like, I'm this 20-year-old like young kid, like they're never gonna hire me or whatever.
Right.
So I didn't even think about interviewing with them.
Right.
And so she's like, "Come talk to me." Well, she was something else on the interview. We laugh about it today, but she was a tough cookie on that interview.
All business, huh?
She came in and she was like, if you want to come join us, you can. If you don't, we're okay. We'd love to have you, but if not, it's okay. And I was like, I went home and I was like, what? Like,
yeah, you're like, I don't know if she wants me or not.
Like, I was like, I don't know how to feel about her. And so then I was like, well, if they don't need me, I was like, they got enough real estate going around that they've got enough for me to, get started with. And so ended up signing there, and I started there in 2019. Okay. And anyways, I've been there ever since. So 4 years will be October 1st.
Okay.
So anyways, it's been feels like 20 years, but it's only been 4 years almost. But
it's like it feels like forever and yesterday at the same time.
I know. So anyways, that's kind of how I got started in that. But growing up military, I always loved going like I probably moved. I think I counted it up like 17 or 18 times.
Wow. In
my childhood, I felt like a gypsy.
Right.
We moved all over the place with the military. And so I always loved going and looking at houses with my parents, whether it was a rental house or base housing, which is, a step above Section 8, it's the center block mansions. But no matter what house it was, I loved going and looking at it with my parents and stuff and getting so excited and planning whose room was what and where our stuff was going to go. And anyway, so that's kind of my, how I got into it, a little bit. So
that's your story. You're sticking to it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So.
Well, that's interesting. I mean, moving around like you said and being excited about houses, and I can see that. So, well, thank your parents for serving, and
yes,
you turned out pretty good.
I feel like we served a little bit.
Right. Well, I always thank the spouse. I don't thank the children, but when I meet a spouse, I always thank them too, because I'm sure it is a lot on a spouse to be married to a military.
Yeah, my mom told my dad, she said, I will go with you anywhere the military takes us, but whenever you retire, we are coming back to Goldsboro, North Carolina, and we're going to live, and if you don't like it, then I'm coming back with or without you. So,
right.
Anyway, so she's a very strong, independent woman, and it had to be. She had 3 kids and
military life.
Yes, and my dad was gone a lot. So.
All right. Well, what has been your biggest strategy over the past 4 years to build your business?
I would say my biggest builder is probably my social media presence.
Okay.
As a younger person in the industry, I was already, I feel like, night and day ahead of a lot of people in the industry, as far as social media goes, knowing what to do and how to do it. So that really helped, social media is such a great platform. Facebook and Instagram are great platforms. It's a free billboard. Right. And so if you have that base of people already, it really helps launch and build. I post stuff all the time. Every time I get something under contract, every time I close something, and I'll look and I'm like, oh my gosh, I only got 15 likes and 3 comments. But then if you look at the analytics behind it, on the other end, you're like, oh my gosh, I reached 2,000 people.
That's right.
Whether they interacted with it or not, that's still your name, branding that name and stuff. So that's really helped me, because I'll see people in town, they're like, oh, I saw you close so-and-so, or I saw you just listed this and that. And I'm like, well, you didn't like my Facebook post, and you didn't, you didn't
subscribe to my YouTube channel.
Yeah, people, come on. Anyways, but still, so
people are watching and looking.
It really reaches more than you think, and so that's helped a lot. And then being related to half of Wayne County has helped a lot. So and having those friends and family and support of, I have a few friends that I swear they will beat people up if they use another realtor besides me, and so it's nice having that, that support of, people and stuff. But a lot of it has been my social media though. I'll give Mark Zuckerberg a big thumbs up for helping me there. So
I know. I mean, I'm following everybody that I can and keeping up with all the real estate news, and so it seems like videos are becoming more and more popular, which is kind of how I ended up in this world.
And I hate it.
We all do. I
hate getting on camera because I feel like I always sound stupid, or
we all do.
And it's like I probably won't watch this podcast because I'm like I cannot stand my voice. Yeah. So I'm sure I have some people that feel the same way about me, but anyways, but so it's been definitely a changing thing. As far as social media goes, a big learning curve of TikTok has really changed a lot in the industry of social media. And so, I feel like everybody can post pictures, but if you can get on there and talk, that's a big deal. Right. And people watch it, and also I think the short videos are really where it's at, those 30 seconds or less videos, because everybody has, a short attention span nowadays. Exactly. And so I think that's a really big thing, is having those short little videos, and
so people can see your personality and kind of feel like they're getting to know you before they reach out. Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, so when you have clients come to you for the first time, you're just meeting them or whatever, what kind of advice are you offering clients when y'all have that first consultation?
I read this question ahead of time, and I kind of laughed at this question because I always have what I call the talk. When you're 13, 12 years old, your parents sit you down and tell you about the birds and the bees. I have to have that conversation with my buyers nowadays because this market is freaking crazy.
It is.
Even to this day right now with interest rates as high as Snoop Dogg, I'm like, Lord. So So I had to talk with them like, okay, you better come ready to buy.
Right.
And, I talk a lot about, in my talk, about buying power and, knowing, I like to send them over. I don't even like to talk to them a whole lot until I get them talking to a mortgage broker, not even be stuck up or saying, I'm not showing houses until you're pre-approved. It's not even for me personally about time. It's about, I would hate for you to fall in love with the house.
Right.
And then you can't afford it, or your finances aren't in line, in a way that you can buy, Yep. So, and with rates constantly changing right now too, as you never know your situation, it could change,
That's right.
So
That's right.
I've had people who were approved for this, and then when the rates went up a little bit, they weren't approved for that,
That's right.
So I like to have that talk about buying power, and then, discuss due diligence deposits and all that stuff. But that's kind of, I don't have a token piece of advice,
Gotcha.
of never eat yellow snow. But, but I like to have that discussion. And, within talking about their buying power, we discuss, what are you looking for in a house? What's your non-negotiables? And it's always funny. I always people give me a list, a mile long when we start, and then by the end they might have two things off that list after.
Because you got to help them get more realistic.
Well, yeah, this is not Selling Sunset, This is not all perfect and on TVs, or HGTV, So, anyways, so it's definitely a learning curve for a lot of people, especially first-time home buyers, of getting, a realistic idea, and I try to help them get that up front, so then their feelings aren't hurt,
That's right.
going and looking.
Because I have a client right now who's been pre-approved, and they live in a market that's very hot, and they're so frustrated because before they can even find a house that they like online to go look at and put an offer in, it's pending.
Exactly.
And they're like, I'm so frustrated. And I'm like, I know the market is still so hot. Right. I'm so sorry. Don't give up. Yours is coming. Don't give up. But so, in speaking about due diligence, if we've got somebody watching today who doesn't know anything about due diligence, what is that, and what's that conversation that you're having with your client?
Okay, so that is a deposit. A lot of people, North Carolina is one of the few states that do due diligence deposits. And it's so confusing because during a contract, there's a due diligence period.
Right.
Which, I don't know who's writing this stuff. I don't know. I hope somebody from the Real Estate Commission is watching this, because I'm telling you, it's so confusing to explain to people. But basically, it's similar to an earnest money deposit in the sense that you're given that deposit, and like a deposit is credited back to you, and but that money goes directly to a seller's hands. Which is why some states don't do it, because they feel like that is not fair to the buyer at all. And in this hot market, and in the seller's market in North Carolina, a lot of people, or a lot of sellers, won't even entertain an offer unless you have due diligence.
Right.
Nonetheless, high due diligence. So, people are putting $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 up. I mean, 2 years ago in 2021, I had multiple buyers that did $20,000, $30,000 in due diligence if they like a house.
Right.
The catch with a deposit like that is that it is non-refundable.
Right.
So if you walk from the house because there's a foundation crack, if there's a septic problem, roof, or whatever, then you're not getting that money back. And so you're on the hook, or for that money, and you have to walk away. Or you have that risk of walking away. So versus other states that do earnest money deposits only, which we do them too, and then the market's slowing up a little bit now. I'm starting to see them come back a little bit, but that is a refundable one that sits at attorney's office or some kind of earnest money account that is refundable by a certain date, the due diligence date, which was why I say it's confusing.
Right.
Because that due diligence date is when you have inspections prior leading up that date. So, anyways, so that's and that. I found a lot of success, though, with due diligence deposits, because I told buyers, I said, do you love this house?
Right.
I mean, no matter what is wrong with this house, will you still buy this house? And many people say yes. And so the ones that said yes I said, are you sure? Like, hand on the Bible, like, don't come mad at me when, I've been warning you, kind of thing. But I've had people win a lot of multiple offers because, most people aren't buying cash. They're getting a loan. Right. So a house will only appraise for what it appraised for.
That's right.
So, due diligence deposit looks so good to a seller.
Right.
And so I had many clients do high due diligence deposits that they loved the house. And thank God we didn't have anything major happen.
It's a risk.
But
because like you said, you don't
we
get that money
won
back.
because, I mean, people were looking at houses 10, 11, 12 offers on, and so they, as a seller, I would definitely pocket that money and say, look, I'm taking that offer because, look, if they walk away, and I can hardball them too.
Right.
So,
well, I think maybe the higher your offer with your due diligence probably shows that you're more serious.
And you are more
buyer.
serious, yes.
So what's the difference for the audience? Help them understand the difference between earnest money and due diligence.
So earnest money is refundable by that due diligence date. So a lot of people,
is that just helping you look like more of a serious buyer?
You do look serious to a certain degree. It shows that, look, I do have money and it's going to sit with the attorney. But, I want to make sure my investment in this property is good.
Right.
Mr. Seller, I don't know that if you have a septic problem. I don't know what your problems are in this house.
Gotcha.
I don't know what you're lying about, Mr. Seller.
So it's not as risky.
It's not as risky at all.
Okay.
But, like I said, in the seller market,
you got to focus on the due diligence.
Due diligence, because that makes the seller happy.
Right.
And so,
they want that money.
And I've had a lot of people that have given me a lot of kickback on what I, just explained about, well, I ain't giving them that money, them keep it, whatever.
Right.
But do you want a house or not? That's the point it got to, which is sad for buyers. I feel bad for buyers. I really do with that. But it's like, do you want a house or not? It's kind of the point you get to.
Demand drives it. It's not like we can help it. If the demand is high, you got to do what you got to do if you want to buy.
Exactly.
Or build.
Exactly. And so it sucks for first-time home buyers the most because, when the market got really good, people sold their house, or even if they're relocating from other states, they still sold. It was a national-wide, the market was a national-wide, thing where it got really good.
Yeah.
And so, so everybody selling their house made a ton of money. And so first home buyers who are starting out, if they had $20,000, $30,000 in the bank, if they were lucky to have that much, or worked hard to get it, they're still competing against people who are clearing hundreds and $200,000 on their houses.
Yeah.
And so that's where it got really crazy because they could put those high deposits in.
Exactly.
Where that buyer who first-time home buyers.
These younger first-time home buyers.
Yeah. So the poor millennials,
millennials,
they struggle, bless their hearts, so against these,
But they're the problem solvers of the world.
They sure are, right?
They figure out a way where there is no way.
I'm teeter-tottering the line right now of I was born in 1998. Anyways, and so I'll be like, why is this guy on here talking about real estate? Like he's a baby, he's too young.
You are.
But anyways,
I have a son your age, I do believe.
Well, they're competing. They're competing, or I teeter a line. I claim Gen X Gen Z. Yeah, Gen Z is what it is. I claim them because I feel like they're a little better than the millennials that are crybabies a little bit.
All right, don't be making millennial customers upset.
I'm messing. I love you.
He's kidding.
I love you, millennials. Anyways, so y'all need me. But anyways, but yeah, so they're competing against the boomers. People who've
been saving
bought their
for
house,
years,
or bought their house for $60,000, and now it's worth $350.
Exactly.
And so they've been sitting on it,
and it's probably paid for at this point.
But, you think about it too at the same time, they bought it 30 years ago.
That's right.
So, that tells you how good of an investment real estate is, that it appreciates like that over time.
Exactly.
I tell people all the time that are looking to buy, they are like, oh my gosh, interest rates and blah, 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 the market, what's it doing? I said, well, if you buy and hold, if you buy a property that you can hold out for any market, no matter what, during a dip,
right.
If you can sell later, do it. So you can buy a house that you can ride out a bad market in.
Right.
So, that's why the 3-bed, 2-bath house is great if you have a family of 4. It may be tight, but,
yeah, just stick it out.
Don't be upside down selling, unless you have to. So,
right.
I'm like, stick it out if you have to, but, nobody has a crystal ball. We don't know.
We wish we did.
I know I'd be a millionaire if I did.
Right.
So
You'll be here today. I have to
that's right.
talk to your agents to get you on.
Bless
So, what's your service area?
I say Eastern North Carolina. I mean, I'm live in Goldsboro. I claim to be from Goldsboro, even though I'm a military brat, but
Right.
all my family lives in Goldsboro, so I've known Goldsboro my whole life.
Okay.
Wayne County, that area, but I do venture out. I'll go to Greenville if need be,
Right.
for the right people and the right money, Anyways,
Yeah.
but I love the beach. Like I just sold a beach house earlier this year in Emerald
I
Isle.
saw that.
That was a nice one. So
Yeah,
and it was
absolutely.
a fun transaction. I got to get to the beach for work and have fun,
Right.
So I'm comfortable at the coast, nearby anywhere. Had a listing in Curie Beach recently.
Okay.
So I mean, anywhere East North Carolina. I'm a little comfortable in Raleigh. I will for the right people once again, but
Right.
like I like to say Goldsboro to the coast or like
Gotcha.
that area, Smithfield.
Right.
But yeah, East North Carolina is where I feel comfortable at. So.
Okay. So how many families did you serve last year?
Probably around. I think it was around 40 something. It was.
Okay.
I had a rockin' last year.
All right.
So I look
During
back.
a crazy market, so that's awesome.
Yeah. So
Because last year it was the sky's falling, the real estate's crashing. But
yeah.
that's not what I
We didn't know. It was like Chicken Little out here. It really was. But it's stabilized. The market really has stabilized. North Carolina's a good place to be. Our market in Goldsboro, Kinston, anywhere between I say Raleigh and the coast, and then
Right.
Charlotte.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the I think booming areas.
Right.
I mean, for us being in Goldsboro, where my main place is, I think in 20 years we're going to be the Clayton Garner of Raleigh.
Right.
As they're beefing up the highways,
Yep.
and stuff, and you can get to downtown Raleigh, in 50 minutes.
Yep.
And Raleigh's outpricing itself like crazy. I don't know if you saw or not, but they're doing a second downtown. They're calling it South or Downtown South,
Oh,
south of Raleigh.
cool.
So it's going to be like I think 10 minutes from the main downtown right now, which is coming towards us, which is good. So I feel like our prices in Goldsboro or our area are only
It's
going
going
to
to trickle from that.
only
yeah.
go up, honestly, or stay where they are for a little while, but only go up really as Raleigh expands our way.
Absolutely.
Because that is Raleigh is a global industry right now. I mean, they have connections around the world with,
and
all
people are
kinds of
moving
stuff.
there like crazy too, which is why their demand is higher.
And so it's outpricing itself. The locals in Raleigh are wanting to get out because they're like, oh my gosh, I can sell my house for so much and make a lot of money and
Go a little more rural.
yeah. So anyways, so it's
Okay.
we're really in a good place, I think.
So what's your biggest challenge right now in your business?
In my business personally, I think my biggest challenge is probably my age.
Okay.
So I read this question beforehand too, and I was thinking about it. I was like, everybody struggles with certain things, communication or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But everybody can do better at certain things. But I think really my age, trying to go in somewhere. I'm 24 years old.
Yeah.
And I'm your son's age, so convincing you to let me list your house, and so getting in the door. Once I get in the door, I feel like I'm okay.
Yeah.
But it's them looking at my headshot versus somebody who's been in the industry for 30 years. This headshot,
Right.
they're like, wow, they got years on them. They know, I feel like people who jump into industry at 40 years old don't have to go through something I went through at 20.
Yeah.
Because they look a little older, they look experienced,
Right. Some life experience.
even though that they've been only selling real estate for 1 year, if I'm competing against them, until I talk to them, I feel like they don't,
Right.
they kind
Don't
of,
take you as serious.
they judge me a little bit,
Right.
even though like I feel like it took me probably 2 years to feel like I really knew what the hell I was doing, but
Well, that's good advice for anybody out there who wants
it
to do
really
real estate.
it was like 2 years in, I woke up one day, I said, I know what I'm doing. Like, luckily I had a great support team
Yes,
who,
that helps.
any question, I call at midnight, they're answering the phone,
Right.
going through it. Everybody has to learn,
That's right.
and so I had a lot of good people who were willing to take a risk with me. I mean, I was a risk, Lord. But, they trusted me, and I was very thankful, and I worked really, really hard for them because I knew they were taking a risk for me too. So,
Right.
But yeah, it probably took me about 2 years to feel like, okay, like I know what I'm doing. But
Right.
but my biggest struggle has probably been my age, convincing people that I know what I'm doing and like
That's right.
I'm good at it. And with on the flip side of my age, it's like I was talking about earlier with social media, like it's helped a lot. I know how to market. I know how to do those
Right.
things, and so I know how to run ads. I know
That's
how
right.
to, so.
There's pros and cons of
Yeah.
being younger and being older,
Yeah.
on both sides of the track. So tell us a fun or interesting transaction story that you've had in your 4 years.
One of my funnest ever, I have to giggle like ahead of time about it, is I remember I was showing some houses for some people. They're taking a risk with me. I was only probably like year and a half in. There were some friends of mine's parents.
Okay.
And they were looking at getting a investment property. Lord, I can't talk. Investment property in Goldsboro.
Okay.
And so it was. I remember it was the only day it snowed that winter. It was like a February. I remember it snowed outside. I was like, "What am I doing out here showing houses?" But I'm showing this one house I'm looking
Please don't
at.
call.
I hope y'all really love it.
Yeah.
And so, anyways, we pull up to the house. They meet me there. It's literally on the same street I live on.
Okay.
And so, I mean, it's not a rough area or anything. I mean, it's okay, but whatever. And so I pull up, and there's no cars there. And so we get out the cars, and it's me and my friend's mom and dad.
Okay.
And so I knock on the door under the carport where the lockbox was.
Right.
And so I saw a figure go by this stained glass window, and I was like, and the husband or the dad or whatever, he was next to me, and I looked at him and I was like, "Do you see that?" And he was like, "Yeah, I saw that." And he's kind of like a more macho, cool dude, would never admit I'm scared or anything.
Right.
Me, I'm like, I'll tell you, oh my gosh, I'm freaked out. You know what I mean? And so, and the wife though, she's a tough woman too. She was like, "Y'all are scaredy cats. Y'all didn't see anything. Y'all messing with me, whatever."
Yeah.
I said, "I'll open this door," but you can go in first. I said, "Because I ain't getting shot. I ain't dealing with people. I don't know what's going on in these houses." And so, anyways, open the door, and she stops immediately in her tracks, and she's like, "Oh my God." She puts her hands over her face, freaked out. And so I was like, so then I'm like, "What is it?" And she was like, "Look," and I put my head in there, and there's a homeless man and woman laid on the shag carpet, by the way. It was awful looking. Anyways, but they're laid there, they look like they're 100 years old, bless their hearts, laying there. There's another guy standing there, by the kitchen,
Oh my God.
stunned, and he looks at us, he goes, "We're leaving." And I was like, okay. I didn't know what to do.
Right.
So I'm like, we run out the house, we're freaked out, so I'm calling Catherine Eagles, and I'm like, "What do I do?" She's like, "Call 911. I was like, "Okay." So I call 911, trying to call Duke Cox, who's a listing agent.
Right.
Who, ironically, the day before, I was showed these people some houses too, and I broke a key off in the door.
Oh,
so he was around the corner, another house, fixing my mess. I left at that house, breaking the key off. Anyways, I've been working out. Anyways, breaking that key off. But anyways, so I call 911. And so I'm in the backyard, and I look, and this another guy who I've not seen yet before either, jumps out the back window, lands on the HVAC unit, looks at me dead in the eyes, and was like looking around, takes off, jumping across yards, across fences. So I come back around, I'm like, "What is going on?" And they're like, my buyers are like, "What the world?"
They were like, "I don't want this house."
Well, then I look, and they are pushing this, bless the Lord, they're pushing this, there's 5 or 6 of them. And this old lady, they were pushing this old lady in a wheelchair down the road in the snow, running her down the road. But I had to give it to Goldsboro Police Department. They found them after I called them in, bless the Lord. I know they were just looking for somewhere to stay in the cold. I felt so bad. But anyways, our Goldsboro Police Department found them, and they put them in a hotel room for 2 weeks.
Oh.
The man was a retired veteran, and he had moved from Georgia, actually, up there, and used his last bit of money to get there to buy the house. He actually was supposed to buy the house.
Oh.
And he had co-signed with his, I think, nephew the day before on a car before closing.
Oh, no.
And it messes all his credit up. He wasn't able to buy the house. And so, anyways, but they didn't have the money to get back home. And so they knew the house was empty because they were supposed to buy it.
Right.
And so they ended up staying there, and they knew they were going to get paid in 2 weeks or whatever, but I don't know if they just because people did not go together either. I mean, it was all kinds of people. And I was like, I don't know if they just rode by the soup kitchen and was like, "Come on, I got somewhere warm to stay," or what happened, but they all were there at the house. But I give it to Goldsboro Police Department. They were really good people, and they put him up in a house or in a hotel room and for 2 weeks and really helped him out. So I'm telling you, it was.
Well, that is wild.
It was
a
wild
story.
Yeah, I have another one if you want to hear it.
Why not?
Anyway, so when I first started too, look, when you first start in real estate, you'll work with anybody and everybody.
Absolutely.
I mean, I don't care if they're prepared or not. I mean, I'll open the door. I don't care. I'll drive here to Kentucky and back. Like, we're going to show you a house. I need some money. I need to work. You know, so as you know, you've probably done a lot of loans for, you know.
I have worked tirelessly on every loan I've ever been.
I'm telling you, sometimes it really turns into the Lord's work. It really does. You're like, I probably made $5 on the transaction an hour, maybe.
By the time you add the hours and effort, it dwindles down.
But I had another guy who I think I got on a Remax lead online.
Okay.
So they made me a little nervous, meet people online, because I'm like, if they ain't willing to pick the phone up and call you, it's a little bit,
right.
You know, whatever. But, you know, today's day and age.
It's the way of the age, yeah.
It is. And so, anyways, I've gotten a lot of good ones, and I've gotten a lot of crazies.
Yes.
But one of the craziest ones I've ever had, too, was this man who showed up at a house he found on a very interesting street in Goldsboro. Very interesting street in Goldsboro. I'll use that word so I don't get in trouble with the commission. But anyways, and so I met him there, and he was a self-proclaimed preacher.
Okay.
I looked him up, because if I find people online, I'm going to look them up before I come.
Right.
So it was like, he was supposed to be...
Because it can be dangerous.
It can be. And I have a background checker.
And who
yeah.
you're meeting.
Oh, I'll background check people in a minute. I pay for a background check, like, thing or whatever. So I'll look them up, see, you know, what the record and all kinds of stuff. So, because, I mean... I'm a big boy, but, you know, I'm not bigger than a gun.
That's right. You sure
anyways, I met this man, and he was very interesting. Well, he videoed, so I met him at his house. His house looked abandoned, like scary. Like, this house probably sold 4 times. People keep buying it and losing money on it, trying to fix it up to sell it. So I'm showing it to him because he thinks he can fix it up and sell it. So I'm showing it to him. Well, he starts videoing, like, the showing. And he was like, can you please walk around the house and show the house for me? I want to video you. First time I met this man. And so I'm like, being that like young agent that needs work, I'm like, okay, let's do it. So like, I walk around like I'm on HGTV. I'm like, here's the foyer, and here's the veranda on the back, and here's the kitchen, and you know, I'm trying to be all bougie and sound like I know what I'm doing. But this man's in it, and like I never seen that man again. To this day. Never seen him again. I don't know what kind of website I'm probably on. Or people like, it's like selling feet pictures or something. I don't know what it was. Like, you know, some kind of realtor website that people want to watch.
So friends, if you've seen Cole touring a house, please turn that website in.
And I was wearing my booty shorts, So I was wearing my booty shorts, and they probably videoed me going up the staircase. Who knows? But I'm probably on some website somewhere.
Well, you're making him a fortune, and you need what's doing.
I know. I need a royalty or something. I need a lawsuit if I need. But anyways, but yeah. So,
well, those are 2 very interesting stories.
Yes, wow. I've had some interesting ones. So. Okay,
so Lord have mercy, I lost my train of thought. So 4 years in, what's changed since you first started?
Ironically, I feel like we're back to where I was when I started. If that makes sense, market wise. Cool. So it was like when I first started, it was like a normal market, and you know, we were able to learn and everything. And then COVID hit, 2020. I hate saying the word COVID. I'll be a cuss word nowadays.
It is.
But anyways, that hit. Well, luckily our government at the time was smart and lowered interest rates and caused the market to get great.
Right.
Almost too great. And so anyway, then it was like I worked really hard for about 2.5 years. To the point where it's hard to vacation, it was hard to do anything besides sell houses, which I was so thankful, I learned prior. So then I felt good enough to like be prepared. I don't know how these agents jumped in during COVID because they're a much faster learner than I am. Right. But anyway, so
I couldn't imagine jumping in when it was so crazy like that.
But it's kind of like it's to a point back now where we can breathe just a little bit. I can go on vacation or I can go to the beach for the weekend and feel like okay, I don't have to show 8 houses. If I get a call from a buyer, we can look at it on Monday, not have to look at it on right now and drop what I'm doing. So, but other than and then when I first started, I started on a team. Okay. Which Catherine Eagles told me whenever I started on her team, it was the Eagles group team. She was like, "This is your launching pad."
Right.
And it really prepared me. She launched me pretty far. It was a good thing. And so from there, I've become an independent agent now in Remax.
Okay.
And, you know, for basically what that means for people who don't know, when you're on a team, they provide you leads.
Mm-hmm.
And so I felt like my business was good enough that I had enough of my own leads to
Right.
then, you know, go on my own, which, you know, usually make a little more money and your
Right.
splits change and stuff.
Right.
But, so that's definitely been a big changing point. And then, as I've gotten a little older, my friends are starting to get engaged and married, and they're looking their first home. So I've had a lot of first-time home buyers
Right.
in this market, which has been awful. But anyways, but I love first-time home buyers, but the market is, anyways.
Yeah, it's not very friendly market for first-time
It's
home
not
buyers.
been. So I'm like, y'all rent for a year.
It's
I don't
bruising
know.
them up. It's like punching them. And,
Yes.
But don't give up.
Don't give up. Call Cole because he has got a lot of people.
You'll help them for the long haul, right?
Yes. So.
That's awesome.
But that's changed as far as, you know, for me personally is I've started getting that personal business and the repeat business and stuff.
Yes,
so
that's good. Repeat.
that's been nice. And being in a military town, it's been, you know, people call you back because they're getting orders now after after 4 years. You know, I've sold them something, you know, and so
Yeah.
it's been nice. That's
Awesome.
been good. So
we're over halfway through this year, but what were some goals that you had set, and are you on track to meet those?
yeah, so everybody sets goals different in the real estate industry. I feel like.
Yeah.
So like. I set one goal for like I wanted to do 12 open houses this year because
Okay.
open houses can sometimes gain you leads
Yeah.
or get you leads and stuff. So being an independent agent, you got to really figure out, be smart on how you get your leads and stuff. So because I hate Zillow, absolutely hate Zillow. I hope they're watching.
I've wasted a couple
Anyways.
of dollars on Zillow myself.
I've probably wasted. I could have bought a car without wasting on Zillow. But anyways, but yeah, so I hate so I'm very much about organic lead generation because they're your
Right.
best leads anyways.
Exactly.
So open houses are one of those organic lead sources. So people walking in, you know, meeting you and that stuff. Well, I'm not on track for that one because I've done open houses this year and I think open houses are dying. I mean, it's a dying thing.
Everything's so virtual now.
Very digital. People would rather sit on their sofa and do a virtual walkthrough or look at the pictures. And usually people can gain a good enough idea nowadays.
But
You know.
I will advocate for open houses and in-person looks because
Mhm.
it is different than seeing a picture. It's kind of like when you go on vacation and you have this picturesque view and you take a picture of it and you post it on Facebook because you want everybody to see this
Oh, yeah.
beautiful view, and they're like, I mean, yeah, it's pretty.
Yeah.
But you're like, no, you had to
That's-
be there.
That's like the first time I went to Jamaica.
Yeah.
It was like you can't smell Jamaica
That's
at
right.
home
At
on
home.
pictures.
That's right. And I
It's like a
think you
house.
need to go.
You cannot smell a house from a picture online or virtual walkthrough. I hope maybe one day we'll have technology for that, but
Yeah.
it always
Right.
scares
I'm
me.
sure we will.
I've had a lot of buyers buy houses sight unseen being in a military town,
Yeah.
and they really trust me as an agent doing that. And I'm like, are you sure you want to buy this
Right.
house without seeing it? As
Because
long as
we
I
all
don't
have different perspectives.
yeah.
And
So and
that's gotta be difficult.
I'm brutally honest about a house too. When I walk through a house, I'm like, look, these cabinets are ugly, y'all. Y'all can paint them, but they're ugly. You know, this wall color, you know, all that stuff. But anyways, but back to my goals. Was open houses. So I'm trying to get back on that a little bit, but
Yeah.
I haven't had good turnouts with them, and I've always had good turnouts in open houses. I do a lot of good social media marketing,
Right.
pay for ads. I target like the area.
Right.
I'll drop a couple $100 on it, you know, and
Yep.
haven't had a good turnout this year on open houses. So I don't know if it's me or the house or
No,
just people are
I've
lazy.
been doing a lot of open houses, and
Yeah.
I just think everybody's virtual now. Nobody wants to do much in
Yeah.
person.
Yeah, and I'm a lot of fun. I don't know why I want to come see me,
I
but
guess
anyways.
it is, clearly.
Anyways, but another goal, you know, we always set a number goal. So I'm on track for my number goal, which is
Okay,
good because
good.
I was nervous with the market and interest rates being like Snoop Dogg. You know, anyways, I've been a little nervous about my goal and stuff, and so Catherine Eagles was phenomenal, and she stepped up and she was like, well, let's do mid-year goal meetings, everybody. Let's, you know, so now I was on track, so that was good.
Awesome.
So I feel like I worked really hard for like 2 months, and then it's like I take vacation for a month almost. Like I take some
Right.
time off or something, slow down, and then work hard 2 months. I'm like, oh, I need some more money, you know, let's work hard, Cole. But anyways, but that's a few of my goals there. Get some more merch was another one. I
Right.
need some more Cold English shirts
Some
and
swag.
koozies, and I wanted some hats. I love wearing a hat because
Yeah.
my hairline, because of real estate, is not looking. It's a little receding back a little bit there. So due to my stress, but probably some hats. That's another thing by the end of the year I want to get. So other than that, that's some of my few of my goals. So.
Okay. So if you were not a realtor, what would you be doing, do you think?
Homeless. I'm just kidding. Probably something still in sales. Funny enough, I always wanted to be a lawyer growing up.
Okay.
I'm just not studious enough, as we talked earlier about my long 4-year degree that I turned a 4-year degree into a 10-year degree. But I would love to have been like a defense attorney, like representing like a murderer or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
I always feel like I definitely believe in people are innocent until proven guilty. That kind of thing. I think is cool, and I love watching like any show based around law, which I feel like real estate was like my calling as far as that goes because it has a lot of law.
Right.
You negotiate like an attorney.
Right.
You have you get to know a lot.
Yeah.
And stuff. Or related to law and things like that. And so that was kind of my like happy medium there. Without having to go to school for so long.
Absolutely.
So, but I would love to have been a lawyer. But honestly, what I'd probably be doing is selling cars or something. But anyways,
selling something.
I love cars. I could see myself being a car salesman, I guess. Anyways, but yeah, so probably something in sales though for sure, because I love to talk.
Outside of being a military brat, what's something fun or interesting about you that most people may not know? All your friends at the watch party, what are they about to learn about you?
They probably know it all. They probably know more about me than I do. But no, I think in school I always said I was born in Germany. That was my interesting fact or whatever and stuff. And then everybody's like, "Do you know German?" I'm like, "No, I'm not that cool at all." We moved when I was 2 from there. But no, I don't know. I feel like I'm always been an open book kind of person, and like. I'm not that interesting. I am, but I'm not. When I talk to people, it's like I feel like they know everything about me to a certain degree.
I'm the same way.
So that's a difficult question for me.
Yeah, I get it. So do you still keep up? Have you been back to Germany at all? Or
I have not. I need to sell some more houses so I can go. I need a European vacation.
Absolutely.
But anyways, but it's one thing I want to go do with my parents soon is I want to take a trip to Germany for about 2 weeks because they lived there 6 years, so they know the area and stuff, and so I want them to show me around and show me where I was born and like where they used to live, and I'm very big into like family heritage, and I did the
that's something fun and interesting.
Okay, there we go. Anyways, because that one thing interesting was my last name's Dingus.
Yes.
I'm a Dingus. My dad's a Dingus. My granddad's a Dingus. We're all a bunch of Dinguses. Anyways, but I always thought I was German, because Dingus is German heritage. Okay. And so when I did my DNA, the little spit in a cup thing, I came back and I had a lot of Russian in me. And I was like, okay, well, I have big ass shoulders, so that makes sense. So anyways, but it was like there was not that much German in me. And I was like, well, who in the world, where did this name come from? So I don't know. I would like
still digging?
Still digging a little bit. I've gone back on Ancestry.com it's like the 1400s now, so it's like it's pretty neat. I thought I was royalty, but I ain't found that yet. But
I keep going.
I live like I am,
Don't give up.
I live like I'm a prince. But anyways, I always thought I was a little special, but anyways, but none yet. I think everybody in my family was like alcoholics or drunks or something. So and then my mom's side was like all from like one little island or right there, Scotland Island, and Irish. They're like the most pure form of white there is, right there with burn in the sun. Right. But anyways, but that's I guess interesting about me.
I think that's very interesting. Well, thank you so much for coming on the podcast today. You've been very entertaining.
Oh, thank you.
And if anyone out there has enjoyed this show as much as I have, how would they contact you if they were interested in your services?
You can contact me on social media at Cold Dingus Realtor. Okay. And then, of course, my cell phone number is 229-269-1829. The reason for that funky number is it's a Georgia number. I told you I live in Georgia. And then just find me on social media. Message me, and I'll be glad to help anybody buy, sell, invest. Also, I love commercial real estate. Okay. So, if you've got anything to sell, I can sell it. So,
you're a one-stop shop.
That's right.
All right.
Yeah. That's right.
Thank you. All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you on the next episode.